All right, Nick, let's talk about the Atlanta Falcons. Everyone knows that the Falcons were able to acquire Jeff Okudah from the Detroit Lions. This is a big move to bolster the secondary they've already been working on in this free agency period, Nick. But there's a little bit more to that story than meets the eye, and this was an even better move than Falcons fans may have realized.
Yeah, Terry Fontenot has had one heck of an offseason, and I'm sure fans of the Atlanta Falcons will be really excited to hear the report that you found. But before we get into that, Falcons fans, draft season, of course, right around the corner. So got a really interesting question we want to hear directly from you guys, like we always want to, in the comment section below. Give us your favorite draft pick of all time in Atlanta Falcons history. It doesn't have to be the best pick, doesn't have to be the best steal, just the favorite draft pick the Falcons ever made, a guy that you think the Falcons picked up and was a great player or a great team guy, or for whatever reason. Give us your favorite draft pick in Atlanta Falcons history, and make sure you stick around to the end of today's video to hear a word from our partner of today's video, and that's Neuro. But all right, Miles, what you got? What's going on in Atlanta?
Yeah, Nick. So Atlanta, has been making a ton of great moves, as you've alluded to. They're rebuilding this defense through free agency. We all know they've been hitting stuff out of the park in the draft on the offensive side of the ball. But Nick, I think this Jeff Okudah move has been a little bit better than people are even realizing. And I'm going to pull up a tweet here from Brad Spielberger Esquire. And with a name like that, you got to think that this is a really high level, smart tweet, a guy over at PFF. Let me bring up that tweet right now, Nick. It says, per a league source, to facilitate the trade of cornerback Jeff Okudah to the Atlanta Falcons, the Lions agreed to pay $1.5 million of his 2023 salary. The Falcons inherit a 1-year, $3.682 million deal for the former third overall pick there, Nick, with a fifth-year option deadline of this May 1st. So, Nick, let me get this straight. The Lions drafted Okudah with a first-round pick. They traded him for a fifth-round pick, and they have to pay 30% of his 2023 salary. That seems like a pretty good deal on the Falcons' part to me. I think this is a guy with a lot of potential here. He has had a lot of pedigree. He's battled through a bit of injury. If he can catch the better side of the injury bug, I think he could be a breakout player for the Falcons. What do you think about this move, though, so far, Nick? It seems really smart by the Falcons.
Yeah, so first of all, talking about Okudah, I thought the second half last season, he was one of the better tackling corners in all of the NFL. I thought he did a great job, specifically in run support. I remember watching him against Dallas kind of first half of the season, and he made like 6 or 7 open field tackles against Dallas Pro Bowl running back Tony Pollard, which were unbelievable. So I think he has a potential to come in, certainly with his tackling alone and run support on his own, and be an impact player. He also had a pick 6 against Justin Fields in the second half of the season. So he's kind of evolving to a more playmaker as well. So he'll fit in right away with a secondary that's suddenly gotten very deep for Atlanta. But I want to circle back to the main point of the story here, Miles, that you brought up. The fact that Terry Fontenot was able to pull $1.5 million of his cap space away from him and put it on the Detroit Lions. I tell you what, I don't know how he was able to pull that off, because when I first heard the story, I was like, okay, the Atlanta Falcons just fleeced Detroit, right? This is a top 5 pick. They got away. They gave up for a 5th-round draft pick. Great win by the Atlanta Falcons on that alone. And still they got the Detroit Lions to chalk up $1.5 million of salary. That is unbelievable. And for those of you who like say, well, it's $1 million, $1.5 million. What does it really mean? When it comes right down to the fringe players, we're talking getting guys, free agents, undrafted free agents, maybe veteran free agents post-draft. That $1 million, $1.5 million will mean a lot, because that'll add to signing bonuses. You look at, say, a veteran player who's like, can I go here and be like the number 4 receiver here for Atlanta and play there for $1.5 million, or I can go somewhere else that maybe will pay me a little bit more or maybe a little less. But when you have that extra $1 million or so to like allocate to other players, you're able to bring that guy into the fold. Right. So it's just one of those things. It really does add up, because some teams that are really stretched to the cap, once the regular season comes, once training camp comes, they're stuck. They can't add veterans. They can't make moves. They're not able to bring guys into the fold that maybe would have helped out the roster, at least from a depth perspective. So that's why every dollar really counts, especially as we get past the draft and teams have to shore out and find those final pieces in the roster, wherever it is, with offense, defense, special teams. So this $1.5 million, I think, will actually have a big impact for Atlanta, because look, this is a young team that's relied a lot on how Desmond Ridder does. So they're going to need to make sure the rest of the roster is as deep and as talented and just doesn't have as few holes as possible. And making sure you have that extra, dollars to allocate to potential areas will be huge for the Falcons going forward.
Yeah, Nick, and I love how you put it when it comes to like practice squad, undrafted free agent, fringe type of players. $1.5 million goes a long way It's nothing to be scoffed at. And the Falcons have been very savvy with salary cap this offseason. It's why they've been able to make so many moves, because they came into the offseason being able to have as much cap as they did. Very, very good moves by Fontenot. And I just think it goes to show this is going to be a season. This is going to be a franchise defining offseason for the Falcons here. They've made a lot of smart moves. If they can crush it in the draft again, I think they're going to be on pace to have a stellar year this year, Nick.
All right, Miles, we would like to give a special thanks to our partner in today's video, Neuro.
That's right, Nick. And I want you to go with me on a journey really fast. I want you to imagine this. It's 4th and goal in the big game, Nick. Your team is relying on you to make the big time game winning play. I know you've been in this situation before, Nick. The stadium is roaring. The clock is ticking. The game is on the line. But if only in that moment you were able to have some Neuro Gum. Neuro Gum will help you stay concentrated, and it gives you a burst of energy without a nasty crash.
That's right, Miles. Neuro has thoughtfully curated ingredients and does endless lab testing, which means that you can reach the right state of mind safely and consistently. That's the most important part. It gives you a clean burst of energy and focus without the jitters of coffee or any of those other energy drinks.
That's right, Nick. And if you click our sponsor link in the description below, you can enjoy energy, calm, and focus whenever you need it.